Damn right I am. Let's get into this one. Whip it. You said there's more pressure on Black Dragons. Pressure makes diamonds, though. But we're going to get into the ban phase. Will it be a Hibana? Will it be a Thatcher? It's going to be the Hibana. So we're going to see something a little bit more akin to what we saw last time around. I think getting to defense, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves. I would like to see Kaid banned from defense now that Hibana's been removed.
Okay, you know what? You know what? I agree. Yes, you're correct, Gibson. We're going to change this. I no longer constantly disagree with you, nor I hate to test my agreeing of you. But Dokumi's going to be the second attacker, and the first defender being waved goodbye is that Valkyrie. So this is in that all-important moment, right? Thatcher's available, so buying out a Kaid's not going to be high on the priority list. I'd expect, you're looking at a Zami or Mira here. Those would be the top two, but I've been wrong all day with my final defender pick, so who will it be? It's the Mirror, so at least, I hedge my bets with that one a little bit, and we get that Mirror ban. Easier to deal with her in the ban phase, and it is to do with a lot of the sites on this, and you can mold it in a very difficult way to break down over time. So here it is. One final game of the group stages of Brazil for stage 1 of this year. Who is going to take it? Will MIBR be able to lock and gatekeep Black Dragons and send LFO to the playoffs, or can Black Dragons hold the line and punch their ticket to the playoffs? So much on the line for this one. You absolutely love to see it.
You know for a fact, LFO are right now the biggest MIBR fans in the world. The round difference is so incredibly close that if we get to the point where MIBR managed to win this one 7-5, I think that's enough for LFO to get through. And here's the fun one, because even though LFO were a relatively new team, they don't even have an org yet. The players in that team carry weight in the community, and they're going to have a lot of fans. So no doubt their fans will be MIBR fans for the day as well.
They're joining my side. If you want Cameraman to go up against FaZe, his former team where he built a legacy in the playoffs, you want MIBR to win. So you're going to be on my team for this one, everyone.
I kind of want that, not going to lie.
Yeah, you want that now. See, now that you're realizing that you can have, Cameraman, whose legacy was always burnt in. You know what? Right, there's an image of a Cameraman burnt into my mind. The Milan finals, where he was stood on the camera podium where the camera operator normally is, in that FaZe jersey. That's burned into my mind. No longer with the organization. He could get revenge on them if MIBR take victory here. Convoluted storyline, I know, but time to get into this action between these two teams.
So Nigel, who came up with a couple of clutch plays against LFO yesterday for MIBR, will be the first person to enter the map as he gets hot droned in. Player drops down through the hatch inside elevator in the distance, and he pre-fires towards main stairs, but there's nobody there to find. But again, it's getting active from MIBR that's pretty old school. You don't see a player playing on Ayana being hot droned in as much now as you would have seen maybe a year ago.
Yeah, I think more teams need to do it. I mean, some of the most successful entries in the world are based upon players being, behind them. I mean, listen, all I'm saying was, when Spoit was in EU, he was one of the best in the world because they had people like Deepak droning him in, able to have that solid information. And, things change when he doesn't have a hot drone anymore. All of a sudden, his numbers don't look as good. Still a fantastic player, of course, but just there's the impact that having a direct drone can do, and not leaving one player to kind of free roam around them.
So the droning is still going on. This time it's Nigel. His roles will be reversed as he begins to use his utility to see if he can spot any of those defenders. But they find that everybody has now bunkered themselves on site. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. Nigel has the player on his back. He's got the prep drone in position as well, so he can see if anyone decides to push up those marble stairs. But you got to get those hatches open now. So much time has already been used. And I like this. They're using the EMP to get a utility, but there's the pop on the Goyo. So the player inside blue will fall back to the bottom and just wait a little while longer, but will not give up that position of power just yet.
Difficult position is with 50 seconds. You're really, really scared at this moment. The opening pick's going to go in favor of Black Dragons, and now you got to feel that MIBR might funnel in one by one. Nigel gets one trader back, but he gets himself caught in the crossfire. Falls going to get one more in the proxy, and well, with 40 seconds, Luke Kid's deep inside his sight. He's got a DMR in his hand, his teammates all around him. They're going to find another one-for-one trade for the team, and Redux alone upstairs. No direct avenue to sight. The hatch is open. He'll have to drop it in. That will be very, very audible. Pace is cold. Has to get recovered. The smoke grenade will give them a little bit of visibility, a little bit of coverage. And they get this job done. What's on in? We'll try and get this locker's plant stuck. Tense few moments, final 10 seconds. Redux cover needs to be good, but the shotgun's even better. Goes down, but Luke is alone. And he's going to get finished off by Ion. And the very first round goes to Black Dragons.
Case went down, but Black Dragons kept their cool and they win the first round on defense. So MIBR, they spent a little bit too much time clearing out the map, in my opinion. 1:20 left on the clock before they even started to get pressure on those hatches, and that made it a little bit difficult to execute that push towards the end of the round. Flurry of action inside the middle, which is always fun to see, but whip it. If you're a Black Dragons fan and if you're an LFO fan, they're going to be thinking very different things about that last round. Black Dragons win the first one, take a lead, but there's still a long way to go before they lock in the spot in the playoffs.
It's only the opening round. Then, listen, I don't trust myself. No, there's no numbers on screen. I can read this words. I can do this one. Black Dragons get a regulation win. Yeah, but it's too confusing. There's a 2 and a 3 there. Go for it.
If Black Dragons win in regulation, they move to second spot. MIBR drop to third. If this one goes to overtime, or MIBR win, it looks like LFO will sneak in that final position based on that graphic.
It's all the CAG hopium fumes in my house at this point. Can barely concentrate, can barely read.
You've been on that hopium for years, though. You were the first European I know of that picked up on that trend.
Listen. If you see any CAG flags floating around at majors, it might have been my doing. Just saying.
We want more. The crowd wants more, but unfortunately, things didn't go too well today for CAG. But will things go a little bit different now for Black Dragons? They got the round win that they needed in the first one. They move up to the top floor now. They take down Castle to somewhat reduce the impact that those windows can have inside of the round. And Stemp leaves the other windows open so he can peek towards Reduct if he elects to get on that ATM's rappel. So if you're on the MIBR side, how do you approach this round? Well, you do have the utility to get rid of those castles. You've got the Ash, you've got the Zofia. That'll make quick work of those castle barricades if you want to push in that way. But it's a very entry-centric lineup. The Iana and the Ash and the Zofia. I know Zofia is not quite the operator she once was, but still, this is an aggressive lineup when you add in the Monty to the mix too.
The thing that scares me about this is that normally you would see teams have some form of execution-heavy operator in this lineup. Normally that tends to sit with that Ying, and that's not available in this situation. You're not bringing it. The Monty is going to be the primary vocal point of this push. You need to send the Monty up spiral stairs and contest Banana and Trump all day long. Now, there's no one behind him to clear that space, so he's a little bit alone. They're relying on the person repelling the lockdown Kanto. The smoke canister will get one tick on the Redux, and the pressure, they'll peek him, and they'll hold him in place. He can do nothing without support, and if MIBR don't support the Monty, they put all their chips on the wrong horse.
Yeah, Monty's trying to push up those stairs, but as you can see with the barbed wire, it's having an impact, but Perez manages to sneak in from square and gets the kill on the Stemp with a headshot. Nigel's backing him up over on the square side. Monty's a distraction, but there's the refry coming back from Nigel. He almost gets the player over on the side of Stock, but he's still in the round. It's a 4 versus 3. One of those players is Monty, and this is where his value would usually go up, provided he was with the push, but he's just being a nuisance, being a distraction over by those gold stairs. Another swing comes through. Ash will get the kill. It's a 4 versus 2 now. Bacedo tries the shotgun from inside Janitor. He's forced to step back towards Monty. He doesn't know where to go right now, but he's being come at from all angles.
Well, he gets one at least, but he's going to get instantly traded by Nigel, and now leaving Proxy the last one standing. 35 seconds, and you're dealing with a Monty. Lowers his shield, he'll try and tap from behind. He'll get the job done. Redux shuts it down. And I'm always skeptical when I see the French shield deployed, but it works out this time, and they get the job done. And a lot of that stems from that huge opening pick from Perez. He repels in top square and gets a huge opening for his team. That means when you have that early pick, the Monty gets so much extra value from it. And look at this. These are such key fights winning in favor of MIBR. And you mentioned they were entry heavy in terms of what operator lamp they brought. Well, they needed all that gunfighting skill they brought. So, I mean, I guess it worked.
It did work, and in the early stages of this round, they're dipping similarly back into that sort of a well. You've got the Ash and Iana again. You've got the Cap as well, who's got 3 speed. Obviously, this could change, and it will do, as the Thatcher is being brought in instead of the Twitch. But it was a very aggressive round from MIBR, and Black Dragons didn't really have an answer for it that time around. So I'm curious to see if Black Dragons will try to meet that aggression head on this time, or whether they're still going to do the same thing as we dip down inside of open area.
I don't think they'll go blow for blow with that level of aggression. I feel like they'll try. What?
Are we going to see Amaru going up through that hatch in open area?
No. No, we
No?
won't. Luke,
Oh.
no, because what they're going to do, they have drones in open area, and they'll set, not in open area, up in CEO, and that's what they'll send. They'll send Luke in to get that control, and he'll immediately be that vocal point of that pressure. So it's a very quick initial clear to try and get top 4, at least I think. I don't think they're going to rely on the execution aspect of the Amaru here, at least from positioning so far. But...
You want them to? You're the same as me.
I'm always up for a little bit of, my prediction was completely wrong. We've got an absolute bit of pandemonium ahead of us. But, again, he's telegraphing this to us. He wants to go in. He's going to get control. He's just waiting for the rest of his team to tell him it's clear, go in. And he'll do that right now. Come on, now.
No. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Now it's going to happen. There you go. And he goes in and down, and he's inside of square already. And he's going to potentially get in that gunfight with a player over by stock side. Moving into archives now. But as you said, a lot of controls now being gathered in this side of the map. Gets the flank drone set up so that it can keep an eye on it to make sure nobody comes across from square side. But job successfully done so far. And he's got to rotate that he can step right on through to side as well if he needs to.
A lot of control held from archives here. Can deny rotations. The knock inside of tellers as well could be a huge problem. Some loose shots sent towards elevator. Nothing connects. I think now just probing, looking for a way to get into this one. Still so much time to identify the threats, but for Black Dragons, you have a lot of pressure still away from site, and that could be huge for that potential retake if we see MIBR be able to just walk in and get control.
So now the Thatcher's going to go to work, going to throw it towards that wall. This is where the, the tan can openers will be used. Whip it. Whip it, whip it, whip it, whip it.
Yes.
It's being set up. That's a kill picked up by the castle. But Amari's below. Falls does get one. But Luke is getting closer and closer to that hatch. Please, I want this execute to happen so bad.
You might want it too much, Gibby, but he's not got a lot of ways in at this stage, actually. Perez gets himself inside of loan office, holds that long angle that's been established, and the direct approach here is coming into a massive problem. You've got these players upstairs, but when you've got to peek in the falls, you need to win your one, and he's going to get aggressive. He's going to try and end the chaos. Right now, Amaru's going to go up, but Luke is going to get caught out left in DBNO. He's trying to get aggressive, and the Black Dragon's kill feed is going to go all blue. 30 seconds just on the falls, and live shuts it down. Round 3 goes in favor of the defense of Black Dragons, and well, we were both very much hoping and expecting and ready to enjoy an Amaru up the hatch. We got it. It was a bit anticlimactic, and Falls nearly single-handedly won that round, but it goes the way of the defense. Black Dragons 2-1.
I think Black Dragons enjoyed the Amaru up the hatch more so than anybody else, as they were able to pick up that one for free with the shotgun. That execute might have worked had Falls been able to get that kill as he swung in through, rushing through the breach, but Smoke was able to have an impact on the round. So we go back to basement. The scoreline is 2-1. The sights have been reset. Last time we came here, Black Dragons were able to suffocate the MIBR attack. They got the case down. Black Dragons then managed to win the round out. So this time we go back to the site. You look at the defensive lineup. Solace is going to be brought this time around. And again, much has been made about the impact that Solace has had since she's been brought in, or since been added to competitive play. Let's be real with it. Some of the defenders that have been added recently have had astronomical impacts on the way that some of these sites and some of these rounds have been played.
I mean, the two that obviously we're all going to think about, Azami and Solace, both in play in this matchup. So impactful in basically every team composition. You can find a way to justify them, and especially Solace. The amount of information this operator provides is ridiculous, and it's almost in the same vein of Pulse, but even more versatile, and you can use it in so many more options, and it's a little bit quicker than the cardiac sensor. It gives you so much more area of influence. It's fantastic. And Azami, we've all been in a situation where you want to get through a primary doorway, and Azami goes one by one, keep a barrier, blocks you out, and wastes every second available to a team. So high impact defenders both available Black Dragons to use on this opening half. Redux will look for that opening pick down towards open area. Couldn't quite connect it on that first attempt. Second bite of the cherry. He'll... Oh, hello! Bye-bye, Ion, and bye-bye, Nigel. Celebration short-lived as Live's going to get one. The Redux, their trade towards open area doesn't quite connect, and everything's exploding off across around the map now. One player left in DBNO, finished off by proxy. Perez, that's going to be the victim of that one. And wow, with just under 2 minutes left to go, we find ourselves in a 4 versus 2, all in favor of Black Dragons.
Nigel with a beautiful one tap, but it was all for naught. And just the final statement on our conversation about Sauce Nazami, it's kind of a feels bad, man, for poor Grim. Not had the impact at all that maybe people would have hoped, but someday maybe. But Liv will fall back towards site now. They've done the hard job. They've made it a 4 versus 2. 5 Kiba barriers still in the back pocket for Azami as well, so that'll completely shut down anything that could be attempted as they try to push down through these marble stairs. So Lukid steps on down with the buck going 1 and 2. Going to be cautious, but spots that the door is boarded off. Will unknowingly trace the player off in the distance. Stemp gets one. Lukid gets his kill back the other way. 3 versus 1 now. 2 defenders on site. 1 playing above. Case is cold. And the camera was on him. Lukid, you're an absolutely incredible player. But I think this might be one task too far on this one. 50 seconds to go. Prone player inside gold.
Down player, actually. So he's going to be in a 2 versus 1. So he's going to get that one finished off. You know what, Gibby? Normally in these situations, I always bill it as against the odds. I think he's got a good chance. The player on the hatch will prove to be the most difficult puzzle to solve. But if he can recover the case, he spots the head, but he gets himself deep inside a sight. He can force out the plant, and that's exactly what he'll do. A winnable situation, but the sound cue will get one to drop in the hatch, and he's very exposed in the middle of the hallway. He'll wait, he'll bait, try to force a reload. But Luke gets slower on the draw. The second round in a row goes for Black Dragons.
Pros don't reload anymore. Not in scenarios like that. You're going to use every single bullet in that mag unless you're 100% sure. And I think that's one of the things that I like about that change, the update to the reload system where you keep the 1 bullet inside the chamber. Everything else is essentially...
Oh my goodness, look at that!
It was filth. It was absolute filth. And honestly, he should wash his hands after that one.
Oh man, that... Wash the mouse, wash the keyboard, man. What a shot that was. Goodness. Goodness me. Unfortunately, gets himself instantly traded the moment he lands it. However, he got that. And MIBR have called your tactical timeout, brought to you by Intero at this point.
Intero. This is the only region you can say it, though. This is the only region where...
I despise you pointed that out to me. Because I cannot read the top bar, that top orange bar, without seeing Parker's name.
He has casted multiple SI finals. He's been involved in so many of the most memorable times inside of Siege history. And he also brings you the timeouts in Brazil. Is there anything that man can't do?
Gives good hugs.
He does.
Yeah.
Great hair.
Yeah. I don't know where you want to go with this conversation, Gibby.
Intero good. We'll leave it Intero good.
Oh, this doesn't take long. It's 3 games of bank in a row, by the way. 3. I love it. At the same time, wouldn't mind a bit of Oregon.
Bit of Oregon, that a bit of you today.
Oh, you know me. Listen, if we could choose what maps we queued in Siege, I'd queue exclusively Oregon, Clubhouse, and we'll maybe dabble with a bit of Chalet. I'm really boring.
Chalet's fun though. Chalet's fun. Bank is a fun map too. Like, it is a fun map to watch. 3 times in a row. It's it can make, you know, if it was a case where you were watching this and you went away and you came back, you're like, is this a still game? Is this... Some people might come back from a break and think that based on the scoreline here, it could still be the NIP game, but that one ended a long time ago.
Some very different stories here, Gibby. We've seen a 14-round overtime and a 7-0. So we've seen like nearly the furthest you can go in a game and nearly the shortest you can go on this map today. Variety is the spice of life, at least in terms of results. Unfortunately, we don't get that from maps. Helmet charge thrown out by MIBR to try and get themselves through that wall. Of course, they had just taken a tactical timeout before this round, so can they amend some mistakes they've been making, or can they find a little bit of extra pressure to really try and collapse on and get these rounds? Because you don't want to let Black Dragons get themselves a potential where they're looking at a 4-1-5 or 4 or 5 rounds.
It's the Twister timeout. This is what we call it. You get the timeout nice and early. Nigel gets the opening pick, but it allows you to have an impact on the game nice and early. Not only that, LFO as a team will like to see MIBR taking the timeout there too, because it shows that MIBR really wants to win this game. Now, you look at the setup. Azami has created a real maze inside of sight, something that needs to be worked out here. Reduct has managed to get through the wall with that Ossa shield as well, though, which puts a little bit more pressure on these players back inside of sight, and Falls is able to get that one, making it a 5v3. So Stemp has to get a little bit more aggressive here as he pushes in towards Lounge. Looks through that rotate again, but there's nobody peering or leering through those windows. They're all played back. His position has been revealed. And Legion still playing down on the ground floor with those impacts, but everything is set up nicely for MIBR when they try to get this execute played off.
Perez holds 3 Candelas, the first of which gets sent out and deployed, but Stemp won't be phased or bothered by that one. He'll sit comfortable in his lane. His glance glasses will keep him protected from those flashes. Another smoke canister tossed out. I believe that's the final one available, but Redux will just walk in backwards and plant behind the Osa shield. The smoke plume isn't enough to stop the plant, and now all these window positions are held, making this post plant an absolute nightmare. 30 seconds till we go critical and impact tossed out. That will clear the Osa shield. That's one of the many problems now dealt with, but Redux finds one the Basido, and now things are going to be a problem. As, oh, what a shot by Stemp. And will that be enough to get a cascade? Probably not, as the window's still locked in. Falls gets one more, trades off that ward, and leaving us in a 4 versus 1. Perez will close that one out. Round 5 goes for MIBR. We are looking at a situation we can go level once again at the half here on Bank.
Okay, MIBR bounce back from the tactical timeout and win their round, and it's one of the reasons why we like seeing the tac timeouts coming out early. It's my pet hate is a team using their tac timeout. I've ran out of names. I've got so many. No, honestly, though, I hate it when teams use it whenever they're 6-1 down, or 5-2 down, or 5-1 down. It's like, why now? Why try to change things now when it's almost too late? MIBR, the coach has already noticed something that he wants to change. So he was like, guys, yes, I know this game really doesn't mean that much for us in the grand scheme of things, but I'm a competitor. I want to win. You're doing this wrong. Let's talk about it. Let's fix it. And let's shut down Black Dragons.
Not only, like, okay, so in terms of, like, for MIBR, this is seeding. They are locked in top 3 no matter what. Just depends who they face on the other side of the bracket for this result. You always, as a competitor, want to win. It's one of the most obvious statements I'll ever say, but they're not going into this game really thinking about we'll save this, do that. No, they want to win. They want to lock it in. They're not going to take any risks, and I think a good call from that timeout. And I mean, we call them Twister timeouts. I think teams in BR are pretty used to it because we used to coach over here. He's really impacted those earlier timeouts, and I think it's a very, very good way to have that work out for teams. You can make changes earlier in a matchup and not kind of hemorrhage away that many rounds.
I think one of the things about a good coach, though, is being able to do it in multiple teams. And Twister has attended every single SI with multiple different teams. His longevity has been great, and I know that there's a lot of players and fans inside this region who are going to miss him. You know, they kind of wish that Twister was back in, but he's off trying to find success in EU. And arguably, he's done a great job. Secret, in their first stint with Twister as a coach, managed to attend SI. But we're talking about the past here. Well, let's talk a little bit more about the present. It's 3-2 to Black Dragons against MIBR. This is the last round before the side swap. Can MIBR level the sides at 3-3, or will Black Dragons take a 4-2 split?
Been attended a few moments in this. C4 tossed out. I think they're just trying to set that one up in coordination. The Valkyrie, or maybe on Live's Yokai drones. No direct information for it. Just waiting for that opportunity to try and get that to detonate to get a freebie. Drone sent down by Nigel. Look for it. Spots the player instead of elevator. If that's hatches open, which you'll have a super shorty, he'll be able to do that. He'll be able to retreat down. And I think the repositioning of that drone is a very smart read. At least it would have been, in my opinion. If you put that on the main stairs that way, he would have been able to read if Cass will drop down. If you hear that hatch crack open, and he'll tuck himself in that corner for the time being. Just waste time. Every second that they burn away is huge. And they're running out of those just around a minute and change to work within this round.
So Falls playing the verticality now with Ying. They've still got that castle barricade up in place, and Ace still has some utility use, so he's going to begin opening that quad wall. Ideally, you want to remove that castle, though, to remove some of the linearity of this push, as Nigel will hold those main stairs. Marble as he waits to see if any defenders look to retake top floor, but it ain't going to happen just yet. There's one of those castles removed, so now you can put pressure on the player who used to be on elevator, but he's now dropped below, and he's going to go a hunting. Pat takes a little bit of damage there. Ion's in position. There's the kill. Falls is going to take him down, and he's going to immediately begin putting that case down directly below the hatch. Echo is there. Echo can stop this, but he doesn't, but it is going to be the TCSG that shuts down that plant. But there's a player DBNO here for Black Dragons as well. It's a 3v4. Nigel picks up as one. Another DBNO. And Baseto is the last man standing. Case going down. Nigel within the back pocket. Baseto, oh no. That's not what the doctor ordered. That is, but Perez closes it out. And MIBR level the sides at 3 rounds apiece.
We have seen almost every type of game of Siege on Bank today. We've had 14 rounds. We've had 7 rounds. Where are we going to sit with this one? 3-3 at the split. Both these teams can't really find significant daylight between each other. This could be a very, very close endeavor indeed.
MIBR still, for LFO, I think, need to win this in regulation, because LFO have 4 points. Black Dragons have 4. So if this goes to overtime, Black Dragons are guaranteed at a minimum 5 points, which would secure them 3rd place inside of this group. So things are getting tense, because a 3-3 half is, to me, the new 4-2. It's that half where you think, oh, this one could very easily end up going to overtime. We've seen it here before. You know what we haven't seen today in Bank? A 7-5. 7-5.
So, okay, so so what you're saying is we'll go from a super long overtime game to a super short game with a 7-0 to a just normal regulation 7-5?
Yeah.
Cover all bases?
You happy with that?
I mean, I guess, you know.
Only if your team wins, though.
Well, listen, if it's an MIBR 7-5, absolutely. Absolutely, because, listen, my predictions have been a little bit off today. I tried to throw a wrench in the works, go like, oh, I'll go for the underdogs, and it hasn't quite worked.
It didn't work, but look, there's still loads. Hopefully there's loads more days for us to cast, for us to put predictions in, as long as people don't hate us, and that's the main thing. So, moving into this next round, it is the first round on attack for Black Dragons. You always like to moniker it as the most important round of a game, as that side swap does occur. There's the opening pick, but it's immediately traded back, so nothing ventured, nothing gained between the two sides. It's still a 4 versus 4. Castle still has 1 barricade left in his pocket, though, but are you expecting maybe some late round shenanigans, or just can't really think of any way to put it? Not really safe to put it down anywhere right now.
I highly doubt we'll see a late edition of a castle barrier around the map, but, you know, listen, I'm never opposed to seeing some new technology in live deployment. Just the early stage of this round, still opening picks have been traded out 4 versus 4. And Astronauts, pretty fair trade-off in my humble opinion. Both serve that entry role, both traded away early. Information getting gathered by the marble stairs. Yana clone sent in, but the Echo looks like aggressive. This could be a huge blunder, but he escapes with his life in tow. Stem very nearly was able to collect that one. Both sides just so close to that one. Time, though, begins to drain away. MIBR will be very, very keen to waste every second they can.
So Ion still playing inside of Archives will begin droning things out. We'll realize that there's a Vigil pretty close by as he gets that signal. So Vigil playing somewhere down around basement. Stemp begins pushing down main stairs as well, and he gets rid of one of those echoes and gets the information that the hatch is open, but Lukid shuts down Ion inside Archives. It's a 3 versus 4 now. He gets another try to get another pick for himself. Misses the opportunity this time around. Perez gets one onto live, though it's now a 2 versus 4. Lukid gets peeked by Stemp. Stemp wins. He gets a second one on the push, and now it's a chance for Black Dragons to maybe put some pressure on the site. The case has dropped down towards the server side. This is where the smoke canisters will begin to pop. 1 more left to go, so that's another 10 seconds that can be reduced from the time inside of this round. Balls Dips back in towards red. Reduct. Playing inside Echo spot. It's right there. There's the head. He
can't shoot. He can't shoot it, Gibby. It's only his uniform. It won't do damage. He'll have to get his teammate to do it. It's going to come down to 1 versus 1. Step needs to drop. He needs to be a hero. He'll swing wide, but falls with the shotgun. Gets it done. I know that frustration of the smoke player. You'll see him plump, but that's just his backpack. It will do no damage. You must find another way to get the job done with coverage. Comes down to that final 1 versus 1. Oh my!
Where does Thermite rate in the worst backpacks in Siege for to look at? Maestro's definitely the worst.
Maestro's the worst. Maestro's the worst because like that has to be a Maestro. Nope. Finally, you get the shot to land. But that is one of the most like. Right, it's great that the uniforms and hitboxes are separate entities because it makes everything very much more fair. But it's like you're lucky to go, nah, that's a backpack. Come on, where can I get my shots to land and find out? But very chaotic round. That double piece that landed up, and I believe it was the yawn of that previous round that was Stemp who found it. Perez tried to swing wide to get that trade, gets red into perfectly, and that huge 2K opened and cracked that round wide open. It came down to that final 20 seconds. You got a Yokai drone and 3 smoke canisters. You can surely wind that out, and they were able to do it. But very, very narrow margin get that done. Came down to 1v1, and well, trust in that SAS shotgun was enough to get that job done.
So 3 minutes inside this round, we've just stepped inside the action phase, and looking at that defensive lineup again, you've got the Capcan, so you got to make sure to watch everything you move. You've got Azami in there to shut it down. We just spoke about the backpack. I think we summoned him. I think we've summoned Maestro into this game. Whip, but I have a question.
Sent deep. Okay, you said you had a question. What was
it? A purist, as a siege fan.
Hold up. I'm sorry.
How excited?
No. I'm not a Siege purist by any stretch of the imagination. No, my favorite team's CAG.
Yeah, but my point is, seeing Maestro being deployed in open area on bank brings back some big memories, doesn't it? It's a bit of Siege history.
Oh, of course, a little bit of hot and cold. Never argue with that one.
Well, no Perez.
Gets the vault. He gets the vault just in time. I mean, listen, Maestro is going to be one of those rare operators. It's not so common. Well, it's like a sub 20% hit rate.
Oh no.
Well, I say it. Not really a nade, but it's an NA Candela. Best, as well.
Well, the one way to nerf Ying at the minute is to get rid of one of those Candelas. So it was nice of Black Dragons to do that for MIBR.
Beautiful entry.
We saw that yesterday. We saw that same entry happen yesterday, but it was on the other side. Nigel the Gunfight, Perez takes down Step. It's a 4v3 whip it.
3 versus 3 now. Ion's going to get one back on the Perez, and it's going to be a very frantic moment. He finds a second one. Luke overexposed himself for a brief moment. And MIBR are reduced to 2. Now, you actually, Lives left in DBNO. I wonder if he managed to stumble himself into a Capcan trap. So the quest to get... He did! So he walks straight into a Capcan trap, now going to be on 20 HP, and a few vital seconds were wasted, and those moments have allowed Reduct to creep back inside of Tellers. This could be massive. He has a lot of freedom, but the player in lobby might be able to shut this down. The red pings are there, and he pops up. You need to win this fight. Narrow margins. Damage done to either side, but look at the HP of Black Dragons. Every single member a single round away from getting shut down and sent to the grave. 40 seconds. And now, MIBR, can you hold the line? All these crossfires are absolutely perfect. Candela's only one available, and Live will send that in shortly. He just has. Nigel full flash, and they'll try and drop. The information is good. Live will get one. DBNO of Ion. This is very winnable. They rotate around. He knows Printer's going to be a vocal point, and he catches it. Will you stick the plant? Yes, he does. Black Dragons claim another round.
And that was touch and go. Every single player left standing there on the side of Black Dragons was one shot away from death. But they managed to pull the round back anyway. The sides are level at 4 rounds apiece as they just take turns throwing heavyweight punches back and forward. Will one of these sides manage to start to extend that lead if they get it? But that was a big round again. I thought for a second when Reduct got that one that the round was MIBR's, but no, Black Dragons kept their composure.
And once again, we draw level. Neither side can find daylight. Blow for blow, punch for punch. They cannot find distance in this game. I've got a feeling, Gibby, all 12 rounds might just be needed once again to separate a side here on Bank. Maybe even more.
It's the last day of the regular season. As a caster, I'd love this to...
why not?
Exactly.
Give us a wee treat.
I'd love this to go all the way to overtime, but I know LFO don't want it to happen, so realistically, you'd like either Black Dragons or MIBR to win this in regulation for the, the likes of LFO, so that they don't get their heart broken and then still have to watch more.
You just gotta feel it. You gotta feel for LFO right now. Sitting in the wings, watching this game play out, all around them, knowing that their fate is no longer in their hands. Redux, aggressive inside of Electrical. Oh no, he spots a draw. He'll go wide, but will it be enough time? It's gonna be a nasty one. Will he escape with his life? He does. Oh my. A gamble and a half, but he's able to check out and get back to life. Whoa, a scary one.
I don't know what to say. That was a close one right there. It's a good thing Solace has impacts. Because if there was no impact there, Solace was a goner. So, 2 minutes gone on the round. That was the first real threat of action that we've had so far. And now we'll see Black Dragons get to work. So they're going to open up that Kanto wall. That'll give them the opportunity to stop any rotates that go from Kanto or in through stock, which forces the defenders to maybe stick into place or make a brave move. And you can see the exact case in point. Macero from this position now can see so many things, and he's got such a long line of sight, but the player now inside of Office will be a bit of a problem.
They'll need to clear it. A vocal point they'll need to work with. No early engagements in the second half really arriving. Redux tried to get one to work out. Didn't quite land his way. Black Dragons a little bit slower on their entry game compared to that what we saw of MIBR. Opening pick goes to Redux. Finally gets his man of Ion. He'll retreat the site. Perez finds a second one. Zeto next to fall. A trade will finally arrive and it will be live from the live rappel. Minute left to work with. Man advantage sits with MIBR. Redux will look to try and find another one, but the window pressure is huge. Can they deal with it?
Redux needs to win this one in this position. There's a player inside lobby. They'll probably get a little bit closer, start pushing in the site because there's only 46 seconds left to go. So whenever Step begins to climb those stairs or gives himself that line of sight, you'll see the gunfight. Live vaults on, and the Kiba barrier is actually working in Live's favor, but it forces him into that peak where the players and Janitor smoke comes out, but there's the kill on the Lucan. Redux now going for the flank. He needs to be careful, spots him out. There's the kill. It's a 1v3. Last player comes around Banana, and Redux gets taken down by Live. It's now a 1 versus 2. And can Live pull this one off? No, he can't. Nigel is there again. Of all the player names that I thought that I would get to say when I found out about Casimir, Nigel's not the one that comes to mind as a Brazilian flair player, is it?
I mean, certainly playing a fantastic game. We saw him yesterday, how good he was as well. Able to find those results. So he's got the flair at least inside of the server. MIBR get themselves that 1 round advantage. They're 1 round away from getting themselves that match point advantage. Black Dragons, the biggest thing that I'm looking at right now from them is their entry game. It is very, 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 very slow. Just a little update for everyone on how this stands in terms of the overall of this group. If Black Dragons get a regulation win, they will get themselves that victory. They go to second in the standings. MIBR will move to third. If there's an overtime or MIBR get the victory, it's going to be LFO who sneak in for third.
So now MIBR with that 5-4 lead. If they can win this one and put themselves on match point, it'll be a tense few minutes for the side of LFO. Black Dragons win this next round, and we get to see every single round in regulation, which is... I said we might see a 7-5. Part of me, by watching this game, thinks that overtime is on the cards, very much so at this point. But Black Dragons, you feel like this is one of those must-win rounds for them.
Truly, truly is. You never really want to let your opposition beat you to that finish line. Not finish line, but the pseudo-finish line of match point advantage. It's such a position to hold over your rivals. Huge fight. Ion takes a beating. challenge the DMR of Aruni and pay the price at HP. Huge early engagement. No kill confirmation, but damage done. Fink is not relevant in our meta anymore, so that's going to be permanent.
Yes, so the question is, though, what can Ion still do? You can still have an impact in the round, even if you only have 1 HP. But you gotta hit your shots. You gotta still work. You've still got 2 drones in the back pocket. Ion's not used any of those Twitch drones yet inside the round. And Twitch on a site like this one can have an impact. You can use it to get rid of utility. But will it be used? Stamp's still playing on main. Ion's going to begin droning. So will Ying whip it. Minute and 44 to go left on the clock. And Black Dragon's just stalling out just a little bit.
They need to find the opening engagement within the next, I would say 40 seconds, but maybe even sooner. They're not going to be able to really get success. MIBR aren't going to give that to them. And again, I'll repeat, I'll sound like a broken record. The tempo, the pace right now of Black Dragons is really struggling. And they need to find that extra bit of pressure, and they're going to try and make an execution work. The secondary hard breach will crack open this hatch to get some access in the CC. They've got a lot of Candelas Force still to work with, and they can make an execution stick. The Twitch drones are going to be very key. They need to get those in pretty quickly to get rid of those Goyo canisters so they can try and make this execution work, at least in a timely fashion.
There's the Thatcher onto the stairs to try and get rid of any utility that's in and around Blue. Stamp steps in the open area and gets on the camera again. There's the first kill, though. Reduct is going to take down one in Blue. And Blue, he re-peeks again. He's got the player below, a player above. Shotgun in hand, gets his one, but he's traded back the other way. Baceto taking him down. Perez takes down Stamp. It's a 4v2 with 40 seconds to go. And it doesn't look like things are going to calm down anytime soon.
Thermite charge used on just the remnants of that soft wall will gain them access. If it doesn't get denied, it doesn't. So now they can try and work a plan. But look at the time, top of your screen. 24 seconds, and Nigel the DMR from range. And that just crushes the hopes and dreams. The C4 goes deep, but doesn't arrive. And Thermite won't last long. Perez swings wide and gets the headshot of the SMG-11. MIBR 1 round away from locking it out and getting victory and sending LFO to the playoffs.
This is it, Black Dragons. What do you have in the tank? Is it full? Is it empty? Are you running on fumes? You win this round, you got to dip back into that tank again to win the one after it as well. Because MIBR have 2 attempts now at match point. The thing is, too, you look at the rotations of maps. When you get in this position on 6-4, you're going to get at least 1 attempt at one of your favorite sites on bank. Black Dragons use the Intero time out. Can one of the voices of Siege inspire a comeback?
You've now got that. That's like a little worm in my brain now. Every time I see a timeout in Portuguese, it's always going to be that. How have you done this to me? But this is a critical moment now. I think this is a little bit late to have called it. I think there was issues with how Black Dragons were playing that needed to be fixed a little bit sooner. But better late than never, I suppose. They've got that little breather, that little chance to calm down, recollect themselves, and figure out what they need to do. But open area will be the site of choice. And you've got to feel that they need to be a little bit more efficient on getting that entry and that pressure and that opening upstairs before anything else.
So, this is it. Match point. The attack lineup is not set until there's 5 seconds left in the prep phase. At the moment, they've already made 1 change. They've got rid of the Ash. They've got rid of the Buck. They've switched it out for Iana and Ying. Ying, a very execute-heavy operator. Probably what we're going to see here is them taking control of top floor. They'll drop those Candelas down through that hatch and drop through stock like what we saw attempted a little bit earlier on inside of this game. But you need to whittle down MIBR because you can't make that execute happen if MIBR have 5 or 4 players up. You need to get into a 5 versus 3, a 4 versus 3. You need the numbers in your favor because you need everybody in position to trade their way to victory.
The opening engagement of this round could be telling of how this game will unfurl. A yokai drone in a fantastic position, mounted up on the window inside a lobby, and it will be a guidance to Lukin, but it won't work. They're ready for it. It would have been a beautiful sight if it connected, but Black Dragons take a gift. That will be Lukin's life.
Cameraman did not like that at all. He's watching at home going, Why do you bring out the technology now? Why play with their emotions at this point? MIBR went for the risk, but they got their hand bitten when they put it into that jar. So, Black Dragons now, you've got the numbers in your favor. That was one of the things in this equation we had to talk about. Reduc jumps out as well, but another kill is going to be found on the player who vaults out. Perez now coming under fire as well. He's going to get taken out. It's a 5v2. And MIBR are just giving Black Dragons opportunities to pick up kills. Falls now is going to step in the lobby. Why is Maestro getting involved in this mix? He's fallen way back from sight. And now we might see some normality. Now Nigel is going to get close by as well. But the site is completely free for the taking for Black Dragons.
No one on site. They got the evil eyes to work with. They'll have information. But they've only got 2 bodies to make this work. So much time remaining for Black Dragons. They can take every second available to find out where these final 2 threats remain. But what an opening that was. 1 by 1. The Nook's going to get 1 more. The cusp of flawless round. Set of Candelas go in, but no one's home. No one blinded. Vert will get opened up. The drones will detect this position. The Maestro, you might have 81 rounds of pain ready in your LMG, but a nade might shut you down. A flawless round by Live. And Gibby, once again on bank, all 12 rounds needed to separate these 2 sides. End of regulation is calling. Will MIBR get it done right here, right now? Or will it be one more overtime here on bank? You know what? I'm happy either way.
And the scary thing about it is, MIBR gave Black Dragons that round. It's as simple as that. They tried to vault out the windows twice. They were ready for it. Yes, the first one was enabled by the fact that there was an echo with that line of sight. But then you get a player trapped. Solace goes for the peek from the lobby as well. Solace gets taken down. Then Maestro goes over to that side of the map. Black Dragons couldn't believe their luck. Now they find themselves in a situation where they are playing for their lives. They win this round right here, right now. They're guaranteed through to the knockouts. LFO are done. MIBR. Are you going to send Black Dragons home? Or are you going to get taken down and allow... Sorry, are you going to send Black Dragons home? Or are you going to let Black Dragons in and send LFO back to the drawing board as they would go to LCQs?
If you're a fan of LFO, Cameraman's new project, a legend of the BR space, you'll be sitting on the edge of your seat in this one. The next 2 minutes decide the future of that side in stage 1. Final day of groups. Final game of the day. And it comes down to this. Would you ask for any more tension? Would you want any more drama? This is why we love this game.
And no mental strats, no mental tech being deployed by Black Dragons here. They know how important this round is. They're going to play this by the book. But is the book going to be the correct guide to a victory? MIBR, they're going to play the game that MIBR play, which is they do like to get front face and they do like to compete with the teams that they're playing somewhere near their points of entry. Nigel's position here in stock is a really important one for this defense. You lose Nigel, you lose the player and janitor essentially at that point as well. Solace has been droned out, and this could be big. Ion's going to wrap up as well as he gets droned in. Replaces, moves back. I thought for a second we would have seen a sort of a pinch out on the player in open area, but I think Stemp is going to decide to take lobby here instead, and he's going to get droned in too, potentially.
Selma charges detonate in the distance. Getting to set up pressure towards Marble Stairs. Lots of utility for Black Dragons to work with. Detonation goes off in the distance, unsure of its source, but the Solace down below in basement is causing so many issues. That's not the site, it's upstairs you gotta deal with. They'll begin to put pressure on windows, but look at the top of your screen. Minute 10, and there's no opening pick, no significant map control, but there's that pick. Nigel's first to fall. This could unravel this round right here, right now.
Stock control has been lost now. Live gets himself on the window with the Zofia. The perfect counter. One of the perfect counters to the Azami. Ion drops the nade on top of Falls. And there's Perez to pull one back. Hopes for LFO lie on MIBR now if they can pull this one out. Reduct still playing below. Got rid of the flank drone. But Lucat is playing tight on site. He is playing specifically to stop this case from going down. There could be a bit of action here as Ion steps in. Perez takes a bit of a beating, but he takes down Live. Perez gets another. Stemp takes him back on the refrag. It's a 2 versus 2. One player on site. Stemp gets the kill. And now Reduct steps back in towards Janitor. 20 seconds left on the clock. Black Dragons need to take down Reduct and get this case down if they want any chance. There's the peak. And there you have it. Black Dragons. They are going through to the playoffs. LFO go to LCQs. The game is not over, but the group is.
Oh, you must feel a little bit in your heart for LFO. This result no longer in their hands. It is locked in and done. Black Dragons will go to the top 3, meaning LFO will have to face the music in LCQ if they want a chance to make it to the Copenhagen Major. Wow. Wow, that's everything locked in for BR. But we've still got an overtime to get over with, Gibby.
It's still... For both these sides now, they're locked in. This is the way that
it's a weird... Well, the tension's now gone a little bit in this. Just a little bit.
Get a bit of fun now. These teams can have a little bit of fun from this point on, because MIBR are guaranteed at least 1 point. That means that there's no way the Black Dragons can catch them from this point as well. So, who's going to have a little bit of fun or have an impact here on overtime to maybe steal away the final MVP of the regular season? Because that's still to be decided by the 2 men on the desk, Jacob and CDAPS.
Oh my. Oh my goodness. That's it. That's the groups for stage 1 locked in and done, Gibby. And it feels so weird because we've got an overtime to watch between 2 teams that are going to push it to the absolute limit. Would you want it to go any other way? Last day of the groups. Absolute spectacle. So, can Black Dragons continue to build on that momentum? They just locked themselves in. They're 1 step closer to that trip to Copenhagen. Can they build upon that, descend and finish off MIBR and get their 2 points in this? Stemp will be the first into the building. Looks to get aggressive. Good information on Marble Stairs, and he's going to get the opening. Will look to try and read in that potential trade. He'll find another one. No, he gets traded off, and Perez will shut him down. 4 versus 4 level on the player count, and he'll retreat back towards open area.
Putting down those Capcan devices now as well to maybe catch out some of those attackers as they look to hunt them down. It's not a bad idea. Retreat, put down the Capcan because you think somebody might be on the hunt. And now Lucat will get on the Solace again. Didn't have the impact in that last round that Solace would have wanted to have had. But look, spots the player on the spots all the phones in the back pocket as they go off. And Ion will get on the drone now as well and should spot Lucat, who is playing in this position. And he does. So you know there's a player in archives, and oh so close. Ion was so close to getting that kill onto Lucat.
So much damage done by the DMR. Creep instead of archives now. Candela's sing off in the distance. The site still down below. And Lucat yet to retreat. Has the option, but he'll try and hold on as long as he can to be that final backstab, the last thorn in their side. An angle set up by Perez, a nasty deep one as well, but Lucat has dropped back now. Decides to relay what information he can on that Solace gadget that gives you so much advance and so much information on where this push will arrive. Yokai drones redeployed, replaced, and they'll form up on that front line towards servers, but no one's there just yet. And I think eventually they'll arrive there, but 50 seconds, they might be just a little bit late to the dance.
45 seconds left now as time ticks off. The Candela is still in the back pocket as Ying will look to just light up the site in just a few seconds. So send the first one down red. That'll make it very difficult for the player in red to stop the initial part of this push as he moves on towards Hash. hatch. There is the Echo drone gone now as well. Thermite will begin opening up that wall, and all the places are being put in place. That smoke will dissipate in just a few seconds. The second one thrown. Smoke should be able to choke this one out with time. So the push needs to come in from Ying now to get that kill. There's the stun. Live text down. Read up 4 versus 3 now. But this toxic babes have been thrown. 7-6-5. Case is going down inside the smoke.
Doorway.
I like it.
He doesn't know. Boss has no idea how close he was to saving the round. The case goes down and Lukin can't get it done. Silence! Silence on the virtual casting booth of that one. Millimeters away. They were basically shoulder to shoulder in the smoke and didn't hear that case go down. Black Dragons on overtime match point. What a round from them. And I really love the information they used. Their drone network was so superb. They knew exactly where those yokai drones were, exactly how to deny them, and they weren't pressured. They didn't panic. They stayed composed. They had around 10 seconds left to go, and they knew they had to go deep to make that execution work, and it worked absolutely perfectly. They'll move to the defense. They'll pick the basement, and this is it. Can they get this done on round 14, or is that mystical, that coveted final 15th round calling us?
So here's the question I pose to you now, but as we've seen from these sides, and this is of course match point now for Black Dragons. Which of these sides do you think look best equipped going into those playoffs?
Oh, don't do this to me. I don't know. I don't know. It's so hard, man. I think, right. I personally think MIBR have been a little bit more clinical than Black Dragons in this matchup so far. It's not going to be easy on the other side of the bracket either way for either of these teams. I believe they're waiting for FaZe and Lost One respectively. So it's going to be a difficult one. I think, I don't know, Black Dragons have just been a little bit slow on that offense. Or for these overtime rounds in the last use of regulation, they're very slow. That could be punishing them later on in those playoffs. MIBR now on that offense will look to get themselves in a good position early. Look for those entryways, look for those openings. Can they get it done here? Can they force max OT?
Well, that is the question posed to MIBR. Both these sides having 50% success on this map on their attacks and their defenses. So MIBR, all is in your court. Black Dragons just need to hold back this push if they want to get the win. The lineup is set, and there's the Kiba barriers just being the nuisance that they always tend to be. You're holding the angled open area, and all of a sudden, the window is closed. Nigel just timing, still looking towards elevator. Don't know. I think he does know that the player's that close, but the barbed wire is the problem. He steps to that barbed wire, that player in elevator is going to swing. A
dance with the devil. They know the stalemate that they've set up in this situation. He might just have to take the gunfight and hope best he can do is win it. Minute 30. And Black Dragons will just be keen and intent to waste every second they can. Cautious of the player down below in the lower stage of those stairs. Balls being cautious of blue as well. MIBR look to be slowing down, and they know that player's dropped. So they know they can take that initial area and that initial bit of control, and that gives them an extra bit of comfort. Ball's a little bit alone here. Will open up that hatch, and well, he was a little bit worried about a swing. It won't arrive. 60 seconds remain now in this round.
60 seconds to go. Thatcher can be used to maybe clear some utility, but that's going to be the pop of the go-yo to just delay the push a little bit longer. And now you focus on maybe a player dropping through the hatch. The audio cue should be enough. So Lukin will send the drone down, feed the information that the player is still playing inside of blue. So the rest of the server, though, completely clear. 40 seconds to go. MIBR being stalled out now by this Black Dragons attack, and here comes the push.
Smokes go out, Lukin with the opening pick, and this could be a massive opening, but it's going to be a flurry of kills either way in the next few seconds. Candelas go out to try and force Black Dragons back to the further lines. Smokes, though, will choke this out. 2 still available with only 20 seconds. Well within the realms of possibility. Imagine that getting on the Candela. Shot out by Ion. He can't cross. Think the fire will choke him out. But the C4 might be perfect. Will it arrive? It does, and it finds 2. 7 seconds. Perez gets 1. Nigel another one. But the case is cold. Redux will try and stick it, but 000 is dawning. The cover needs to be perfect, and it won't be there at all. It's Redux all alone, and they'll get the knife for good measure. Black Dragons claim victory on round 14 of overtime, and they've got their ticket to playoffs already punched and booked.
Well, it was simple for Black Dragons. Get the winner, get to overtime. How's about both? They get the 2 points and secure their way into the playoffs. And Whippet, I lost one prediction today on an earlier game, but I'm 2-0 against you. I'll take that.
That's all you care about. You only care about the head-to-head and predictions against me, but alas, I'd be